All right, back at 52 minutes after. Another New York ritzy restaurant closes its doors, a victim of the recession. Manhattan's Café des Artistes shut down after nearly a century in business. The Upper West Side historic eatery fed presidents and movie stars for 92 years. Café des Artistes turned off the lights just days after La Goulue went out of business after 36 years. Other high-end Manhattan restaurants that have closed, Payard and Frederick's Madison. Well, the total number of commercial restaurants in this country is shrinking. There are just more than 577,000 restaurants as of this spring. That is down from more than 581,000 last year. And major chains are capturing more of the market, making up nearly 60% of all restaurant meals. Well, joining us right now from Chicago, Harry Balzer. He's Chief Industry Analyst at Market Research Group, NPT. Harry, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Nice to be here.
It's great to have you here. And in terms of the restaurant industry, I mean, obviously not immune from the economic downturn. How bad, though, has it really been?
Well, this has been a real rough time for the restaurant industry. There's no question about it. It's not the first rough time, but this has been one that's been illustrated by the decline that we've seen in the number of people going out to eat, particularly at supper time.
Yeah, interesting. And I know you track consumer trends and what consumers are doing. I mean, which restaurants are faring the worst? Is it those high-end exclusive ones? And which ones are doing the best?
Well, there's no question. The more you are tied to supper, the supper meal, a sit-down meal at that, and are expensive, you're having difficulties. But the truth of the matter, the high-end restaurants are not where we really eat. Only about 1% of all of our meals go to the high-end restaurants. The real restaurant industry really is in the fast food business. That's the key to how Americans are using restaurants in this country.
And Harry, this statistic just threw me. 77% of meals bought outside of the home are actually fast food. That's for real?
It surprises a lot of people that the number one place that we go get food that's not prepared at home is a fast food place. It's 3 out of every 4 meals. Now, we don't write home and tell mom about those meals that we have at the fast food places. Instead, we talk about the high-end restaurants that we go out to. We go out to high-end restaurants 1 in 100 times, yet when they close their doors, we read about it.
All right.
The truth of the matter, there's more door closings going in those fast food restaurants and those mid-price restaurants than anywhere else.
All right, specifically, throw out some names. Who's getting hurt the most in this environment, Harry?
Well, clearly, independent restaurants, the guys that you and I don't know, the ones that aren't that noticeable, the ones that don't make the stories, those are the ones that are taking it on the chin. Because the major chains actually are still growing. They're capturing a greater share of the market. Right now, you could take 121 chains in this country, and they'd account for 50, 60% of all restaurant visits. They're not the ones that are hurting much. They're hurting, but not as much as the independents who are just closing down the doors.
Does it shock you, though? Because it kind of shocked some of us to hear about Café des Artistes. I mean, it's been around for 100 years. Kind of shocking to hear that it's closing its door. Just, kind of economic fallout in your view?
Well, it's not shocking to me because the most important thing for all restaurant operators is that you stay contemporary. So you say to me 100 years, and I start thinking, are they staying contemporary? Because that's the single most difficult task, is to stay contemporary, to change, to keep up with the times.
What else has changed in terms of consumer patterns and attitudes during this downturn? Because I've been to restaurants, and they're pretty full, despite some of the concerns people have about jobs and housing and the economic outlook. How else have consumer attitudes changed here, if at all?
Well, you're probably going out on Friday night or Saturday night. You're not going out on Monday or Tuesday, the times when they really need people to come in those restaurants. But the truth of the matter, the single biggest change that we can identify because of the economy is not going out to eat at a restaurant or not eating at a restaurant. You're going to eat out about 200 times, or you're going to use a restaurant about 200 times. That changes a little over the last decade. More important, it hasn't grown. But the big change is using a deal. If there's a deal to be had, you're going out. If there's no deal to be had, you're going out less often. That's the big change due to the economy.
And we're going to see a lot more of that in your view?
I think so, until we get through this pattern here, where we're not so concerned about the economy. We're being shell-shocked by news every day and are willing to go out and spend to have someone else make our meal for us. Because that's really what we want to do, is we don't want to cook. There's no great desire to cook in this country. We like watching it on TV, but we don't like doing it ourselves. And restaurants have served that need.
Hear, hear. All right, Harry, thank you so much. Harry Balzer of NPD. Matt.